Thank you very much. It is Bosa Eric learning how to do text selection and editing is our business today. What do we do if we have a word processor document like what we are having before us? First, we see how to select a single word. Selecting a single word is by double clicking into the word so that it's selected as demonstrated. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on the channel. Double clicking, as demonstrated in the video, you click the right side, rather the left side of the mouse on your mouse button. You double click, clicking twice rapidly so that the word is selected. Click twice rapidly the left side of mouse button. Click twice rapidly so that a word is selected. Now to select a single paragraph, here you triple click, clicking the mouse button thrice rapidly. Thrice rapidly you click to the left side of the mouse button, you click thrice rapidly. So there it selects a whole paragraph. The whole paragraph is selected. If it's just a sentence there, the whole sentence is selected. If it's the title, the whole title is selected. If it's a unit of words selected. So there, triple clicking selects the whole paragraph or a phrase, a group of words, depending on what is at hand. If it's a group of words, it selects the whole words, the whole group of words. For example, here, or if it's a paragraph, it selects the whole paragraph, depending on what is at hand, and that is triple selection. Rather, triple clicking, you click thrice rapidly. Then for cases where you need to select the whole document, we have the Home tab. On the Home tab on the left side of the ribbon, we're using Microsoft Word. Go to the editing tools. So we have the select feature. Once you select, you choose, it shows you the shortcut, the pop out, the screen tip. The shortcut is shown there, Control A. So when you select the whole document, irrespective of the number of pages that are there in, the whole document gets selected. All that is the document is selected all at once. All document selection, all the pages being selected. You can use the shortcut Control A or use the editing tools on the Home tab, select, and all the document is selected. Now for cases we may need to select just some words, not all words in a document, a kind of discriminate selection. Here you select the beginning word by double clicking, then you press the control button on your keyboard. While the control button is pressed down, you go on to select other words. You select word for word. You click on the left side, and while the control button is pressed down on the keyboard, you go on to select other words of your interest by double clicking over them. Then it gets us selecting particular words. So you go on to select word for word while the control button on your keyboard is pressed down. So as you go on clicking over the words, they're selected discriminately. Then on the other hand, we may need to select a block of words. Usually we click and drag over the words. By this time, if you want to select a group of words conveniently, you place the insertion point at your point of interest. That is the beginning, the point where the selection is going to begin. Then press down the shift button. While the shift button is pressed down, you go on direct the cursor, direct the text cursor or the insertion point to the point of interest. So all the words in between the beginning point where you started up to where the insertion point has been placed are selected. So when you work backwards, select backwards, it deselects up to the point where you had selected originally. It deselects, keeps on deselecting. And while you go forth, it selects all that is in between from the starting point to where the insertion point has been placed up to where you click. So all that is in between is selected. And when you go backwards, the deselection happens up to where you place your insertion point. So that is done while the shift button is pressed down. Then we can combine the two methods where the shift button and the control button are both pressed down. When you press the shift button down, you can run the cursor up to where you wish to select. You run the insertion point up to the point of interest selection. So likewise, you can add additional words, single words, or even a group of words and select up to a point of interest while the control button and shift button are pressed down. So in this case, you start with what you choose. For example, I can select a block of text. Then in addition to the block of text, I can select single words by then pressing down. For the block of text, I press down the shift key and select the block of text. Then I go on to press down the control button after selecting the block of text. Then there I can add individual words in addition to the block of text, or I can drag over words and select a group of text in addition. But when I click again, the deselection happens according to how I selected, whether I had selected a single word or a block of word. A deselection happens, and I can go on to select backwards, back. I can maybe select groups of words and single words. So that's a combination of the control button and shift button. You can select groups of words and single words while both buttons are operating and I press down. That was content selection. Then we go on to use the find and replace feature. Don't forget to like and subscribe on this channel. Bossa Eric are the names. We have already seen the select feature here in the editing tools. Then we have the find and replace feature. You can use the find and replace feature when I run the cursor there in the screen tip. I'm shown the shortcut. I can run with that shortcut. Find and replace. When I activate it, it activates the navigation pen on the left side. Is activated to allow me to work with the find and replace feature. So here you can find a particular word in my document, irrespective of how big the document is. For example, let me choose to find the word water. How many times does it appear in the document? So here I'm shown the number of instances it is appearing in the document, and on the work area, the display area, I'm seeing the instances it is appearing in this at this very point, which are 2 instances. They are highlighted here, and here they are showing me the number of instances, and here in the scroll list, I'm being shown how many times it's appearing for individual units, where it's appearing, wherever it's appearing, and when I click on the display area, it shows me the respective point where it is the word in question is appearing. So when I choose it here in the navigation pane, it displays here at the instance where it's appearing in the document. So this one is the number of times, and here I'm being shown how many of those 50 times, or here it's 50, 30 times out of 50. So I'm being shown how many times it's appearing, and the choice is in highlight here, a bit different from these others. When I choose, what I choose is in special highlight, showing that I've chosen that. So I can choose to replace the word that I've chosen. So when I go to activate the replace feature, it activates the find and replace dialog, and I'm being prompted with the word that has been found and what am I going to replace it with. So I can choose to replace the word to my jurisdiction. I can replace the word in that very instance, okay? Or I can replace all the words, wherever it is appearing. I can choose to replace it with another word. For example, I can choose to replace water with water resources. So it will make replacements. So if I choose to replace all, the system shows me how many replacements have been made. So here, the dialog shows you how many replacements are made, and you do the needful according to what you choose. So we then go on to see more editing tools. We have seen the find and replace and select. Then we have this side where we have what we call the clipboard. On the clipboard, we have a provision for cut, copy, cut, copy, and paste, which are editing actions. So when you run the cursor there, when you hover your cursor over the tool, a shortcut is shown, keyboard shortcut that you can use, cutting, copy, and paste. So we have cut and paste and copy and paste. We're going to see both. Starting with cut and paste, if I choose to cut, okay, and then I choose where to paste. I've cut from here and I'm going to paste here, okay. Go back again, I'm cutting this and I'm going to paste it here. So we cut with the tool or shortcut. Then we go on to paste. Then we can go for copy and paste. So I'm going to copy this word and paste here. So when I select the word, first select, then you go on to operate the copy tool, and then you paste. So in this case, a copy of the word is left in the original position, unlike here where we had to cut, the word is transferred totally from the original position, but here copy, there's a copy of the word in the original position left. So that is the copy, cut, copy, and paste feature, which is part of editing. So it is good practice to use the quick access toolbar on the title bar. So what you need to be close by you, what you use frequently, is activated on the quick access toolbar. For example, here there's saving. You can undo. So I can choose to customize the quick access toolbar here. There's a caret here that you can activate, and in the drop down you choose what to activate on the quick access toolbar or what to deactivate. So I can possibly add something there and maybe even remove something depending on my interest. So what you need to have close by is placed here, the quick access toolbar, and it's good practice to keep using it. We follow this with text navigation. We need to see how do you navigate your document. Usually we scroll, but we can use the insertion point to run through the text. So where the insertion point is, you can use the navigation buttons. So the direction of the button dictates where the insertion point moves. It moves according to the navigation button on the keyboard that you operate. Where the direction it is pointing is where the insertion point moves. So you can easily navigate your document by directing the insertion point according to the navigation buttons. The direction where the navigation button is pointing is where the insertion point moves according to the direction of the button being operated. Then there are cases where you need to run your cursor to the beginning of a document. The beginning of the document, you press down the control button. While the control button is pressed down, you go on to press the home button. So anywhere in your document and you need to run to the beginning of the document, you press down the control button. While the control button is pressed down, you go on to press home. So it runs you to the beginning of the document. And likewise, anywhere in the document, and you need to run to the beginning, to the end, this time of the document, you press down the control button. While the control button is still pressed down, you press end. It takes you to the very end of the document. So control home, beginning of the document, control end of the document. Then if you need to run the cursor to the beginning of a line, there you press home, you simply press home, it runs to the beginning of a line. In case I need to do something at the beginning of the line, I press home and runs the insertion point to the beginning of the line. And likewise, when you press end, it runs you to the end of the line. So you can make changes from the beginning of the line or to the end of the line using home and end buttons. Then we can transpose words or a group of words. We can choose to transpose them from one point to another in the document. For example, I can have this word and transfer it to another point. So when I select it by double clicking, I can transpose. You click and drag. Click on the left side of the mouse button and move the mouse. Click and drag. So when you click it, the mouse pointer acquires a box below it showing that the word is ready to be moved in the click position. So you should click first. Okay, while we have clicked in the click position, the mouse acquires that box, and then you can run the mouse while the word is clicked in the click position, and where you direct the cursor is where the word moves from the original point to another point. That one can also be done for a phrase, a group of words. For example, these, I can drag them, all of them, to another point in the document from where they were. So you click, and while you are in the click position, the button is still down, the mouse pointer acquires that small box, and then you can move. Where you direct is where the words move. So that is dragging the words. Otherwise, we can also scroll with the scroll wheel. You run the scroll wheel with your index finger, and the document scrolls accordingly, depending on how the direction in which you are running the wheel. So it runs accordingly. The text runs according to the direction in which you are scrolling the mouse wheel. Then we can also use the mouse, the pad on the laptop, to scroll, similar to what we do with the mouse scroll wheel. So this one gets a scrolling effect by running two fingers over the pad, as illustrated in the video, to give the effect of scrolling with the pad. That was scrolling, trying to view different parts of the text by scrolling. Then we go on to zooming in, zooming out. On the status bar at the bottom of the document, the application, we have the zoom feature. The zoom feature has two zoom buttons, a negative sign, a zoom out. For zoom out, when you hover the cursor over it, shows zoom in, negative zoom out, positive zoom in, and we have the zoom slider. You can run the slider and it zooms accordingly. Or you run the buttons and they zoom in, zoom out, or zoom in. So here it zooms in, the plus sign zooms in, and negative sign zooms out. or else you can use the zoom slider and run the slider by dragging it around. When you drag it using your mouse, it changes the zoom, and the percentage of view is shown on the other side, the extreme right. The percentage of view is shown. Else you can use the view tab, and we have the zoom group, the group of tools, zoom group. You can activate the zoom feature. When you activate it, it gives us a zoom dialog, and in the zoom dialog you can zoom by varying percentages, or by page width, text width, whole page viewing, or you can view many pages at a go. So the zooming happens accordingly. And then you can also see the percentage zoom here on the zoom dialog. That is for the zoom group in the view tab. Then you can zoom with the mouse pair as running two fingers to slide them apart and together over the pad, laptop pad, if you are using the laptop. So this one gives a zooming in and out effect using the pad of the laptop. Zoom in and zoom out using the pad laptop. Then scrolling can be done with the mouse as well. So if you are running your mouse, press down the control button. While the control button is down, you run the scroll wheel. While the control button is down, then it achieves a scrolling effect depending on the direction of the wheel. The direction of the wheel dictates whether you are zooming in or zooming out. So here it runs with the control button pressed down and the scroll wheel being run accordingly to zoom in and zoom out. Therefore, I'm grateful for your attention, for being on the channel. Keep tuning in for more of such content. Subscribe, like, and comment on the channel, and be tuned so that we have more.